New book out about the youngest general in the Union Army who ended up in Cincinnati defending the city from a Confederate attack. And joining me now is author Peter Bronson to tell us more about it. Good morning.
I'm glad to be here, Jen.
So why don't we start by talking about Luke Wallace? Tell me a little more about him.
Boy, there's so much to tell.
Right.
He was an amazing guy. Not only did he save Cincinnati, he was a hero at Shiloh. He saved Washington, D.C. He went on to capture Billy the Kid as territorial governor of New Mexico, fought Geronimo, numerous other things, including ambassador to Turkey, and then he wrapped it all up in his career by writing Ben-Hur, one of the greatest novels of all time.
I mean, just a few things that he accomplished in his day.
Quite a resume.
So we can learn more about him in this book, but
Yes.
there are lots of other tales in this book. So we were just talking about how the amazing history around this area. I wanted to know more about, there was a secret plot to assassinate Lincoln?
That one was very surprising. I heard about that from a local museum curator, and I started researching, and sure enough, on February 13th, 1860, when Lincoln was just elected, he was on his way to his inauguration in D.C. and stopped in Cincinnati, and a group tried to kill him. They put a bomb in his train car that nearly went off, and he missed being assassinated before he was president by just split seconds.
Wow. So much to talk about in the book and the history here. And I know we don't have a ton of time, but there's another story about, tell me about the Moon sisters from Oxford. Sounds fascinating.
That's another great story. So Ginny and Lottie Moon were sisters, and they were both pretty wild. Both of them were engaged to be married more than 18 times. And one of them, Lottie Moon, was engaged to Ambrose Burnside, who gave the name Sideburns to us. That's a little trivia history. And but she went to the altar with Ambrose Burnside, and when it came time to say I do, she said, "No, sirree, Bob, I don't," and walked out on him. But meanwhile, when Ambrose Burnside was appointed military governor of the Cincinnati region, he investigated and found out these two sisters were spying for the Confederates, and they were shipping morphine and bandages to the Confederate Army in Lexington. So she was arrested.
Wow.
And put under house arrest conveniently in the same hotel where Burnside had his headquarters.
Oh boy. Peter, there's just so much to talk about and so much history from this area. How did you get into writing about this? So this is your 8th book?
Yes.
On history, and history about this area, or covering all topics?
All kinds of topics. I did a couple books with as co-author on the Honor Flight. I've done one on the history of Newport and organized crime, which is fascinating, and the Supper Club fire of 1977. And then I did another one called Not in Our Town about the organized crime in Cincinnati, which was also a fascinating story. But this one I'm really excited about. It's doing really well. It's just such a fun thing to go back and find out Cincinnati played such an important role. Just as one little way to gauge that, there are 41 Civil War generals buried in Spring Grove Cemetery.
Wow.
41.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that shocked me too.
And we were just talking, I won't hit on it too much, but that they're excavating a Civil War site around here. We were talking about that earlier. So there's just so much history around here to be discovered, and so much of it we can find in your books. Is there one place where people can go to find all your work?
Yes. You can buy these books at Joseph Beth Bookstore and Roebling Point Books. You can get them on Amazon, but I recommend if you're looking for a Christmas gift, it's still time. Go to my website, chilidogpress.com, and you can get signed copies of all of my books there. And we'll get them out in the mail, and there's still time to get them in time for Christmas.
Chili Dog Press.
Yes.
I love that so much. Peter Bronson, thank you so much for sharing all this history with us and letting us remember all these things that, you know, have really carved out Cincinnati, and so much to know. So
thank you, Jennifer.
8 different books that you can check out of his.
Absolutely.
Would make great Christmas gifts.
Thank you.
Thank you, and happy holidays to you.
You can always find our stories here on YouTube, but go ahead and click subscribe to get notifications and stay in the know.